Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And today let's compare the Streamlight Wedge with the Olight Arkfeld. Now both of these are kind of a newer design, sort of the flat flashlights. In the old days, like prior to these maybe, we used to have the barrels of the flashlights the same shape as the batteries. And that's been around, probably since the first D-cell lights. Surefire came out with this guy a while ago, many years ago. I think I paid $80 or like 20 on Amazon now or something. But it's a little keychain light, but it's flat. We have lots of small pocket keychain lights that have kind of embraced the flatness. But we're still kind of keeping the round. There's something about the feel. One of the problems, though, of course, is they roll. They roll around. Or they take up more space, maybe than you want to dedicate in your EDC. Now, the ones like this Surefire P3X, this thing rolls, like a, just like a wheel. It's amazing. It has no pocket clip. Once you put a pocket clip on something, you at least maintain the roll. Some others, like this one, doesn't have a pocket clip, but it tends to roll around in a circle because it's got two different diameters here. But these are sort of the, I would guess, the future of EDC. There's no reason, once you go to an onboard lithium battery, that you have to stay with anything round unless you want to run an 18650 or any of the variants. But just like what has happened with computers, with laptops, is if you start building the light or building the object in the shape you want, and then you backfill the battery, because you can make the batteries almost any shape. So here they are. First of all, this is about 5.5 inches, the Wedge. This is about 4.5 inches, the Olight Arkfeld. So you can see it's about 1 inch difference. Some people complain that this one's just way too long. It's a subtle difference. They both have pocket clips, but they approach it differently. You can see that the Streamlight actually has more of a deep carry, allowing you to go almost all the way to the very end, whereas Olight stops right here, about 1/2 inch down, because they've got this charging mechanism on the top. We'll get to that. Overall, they're very similar. This is about 3.3 ounces. This is a little over 3 ounces. So weight and size, really close. Price, $90. $90 is retail here. Obviously, a lot of people wait for sales. And then this one's 90 or more. So, it shouldn't be the break point. I'm not going to say one's better than the other. They're different. So let's take a look at some of those differences. They are both operating with some sort of a switch mechanism. This Olight uses a push button at the top, and then you can toggle between a green laser, you can see right there, and a light. So it goes back and forth with the push button, also giving you some other options there. One thing about this, it has essentially 5 different lighting modes. If I double click it, it goes to a turbo 1000 lumen mode. Otherwise, it runs from a 300 to a 60 to a 15. That's what it's cycling through there. And then if I just hold this down, it goes to a 1 lumen. So I have essentially 5 different possibilities. I can access the highest and the lowest by either a long press or a double click, or I can go with just a standard click and then cycle through it, and it does have a memory. So essentially it's got 5 possible options plus the laser. The Streamlight, on the other hand, has one option. You turn it on and it's 300, one onboard option like this. If I push this, I do get a second option, which is 1000 lumens, which is equivalent to what the Olight is, but it only lasts about 35 seconds, and then it automatically shuts off. They are happy about that. They call it the through THR, or throw THRO. It's a regulated output. So yeah, I guess technically there are 2 options here, but you can't leave it on. It automatically cycles back down. So yeah, 2 options, but one that doesn't require additional input. So what else? The battery indicator on the Streamlight, it's kind of hard to see. There's a little green light right there. Wherever it went might have gone out. Let me turn it on again. There's a little green light that I can see in there, and that tells me that it's got a certain amount of charge. The Olight, on the other hand, runs a kind of a neat little 4 LED light. Sort of has a smooth interface. It gives you the battery life indication whenever you turn it on or turn it off, which is kind of neat. And then it slowly winds down. So both of them have a battery indicator. This one is a little more precise than this one and easier to see. As far as runtime, if you go to the 1,000 lumens on this thing, you get about 35 seconds before it throttles back to 300 and then runs 300 on down, giving you approximately, it says 3 hours of light. I have not gotten that out of this, so I think that's a bit of an overstatement, but it does have a fairly large battery, so you're talking hours. The Olight, on the other hand, is going to give you around 2.5 hours at the 300 lumen. Turn that on here and cycle up. That 300 lumen there. It's going to give you about 3 hours, it says, or 2.5 hours, or actually about 2 hours plus 30 minutes. I think that 30 minutes is throttled way down. But you can also use it on lower settings. Now that, to me, that lower setting is a big deal, because this one minimum is 300 lumens, which is a lot of light. Now for a work light, you know, you have no trouble turning that on, but you crack this thing open, you know, in a dark room, and it's going to blast out plenty of light, maybe too much. That's what I like about this, where I know I can start out with that 1 lumen right there, and then if I want to throttle up, I can. But on this one, I've got that one chance, one light, and then I can just go brighter. As far as the operation, this one does feel pretty good. I don't mind this. I had heard some people accidentally turning them on. This actually is recessed if you line up something across the top, say an Olight here. It does sit below. Even, you know, when it's on, it's still below. So it looks like you might hit it, but in practicality, I haven't. And if you're dropping it into your pocket, because of the location of the pocket clip, when it goes down, it would go to the shut-off mode. If anything, it might turn on when you pull it out, and I'm wondering if some people have turned it on when they're removing it because the edge of their jeans or something kicks it on like that, catches it as they're pulling it out of their pocket, so they think it might have been on. But of course, I've had that hot flashlight in my pocket before and noticed. As far as charging, this uses a USB-C on the back. This is the Wedge. The Wedge does not have a cover or anything on it. The Olight uses their proprietary magnetic charger, but it also means it has a magnetic base, so you can stick it to something and it stays on. So it gives you one more option. It also means it grabs stuff. So, you know, sometimes there's the trade-off there. So this does not tail stand because, you know, it's too unstable. This one does tail stand and has a magnetic base. Overall, both are, I think, exceedingly smooth. That seems to be a thing that they like. I find that a little bit troubling. I would rather have some texture so I could hold on, but it does mean it slides in and out of the pocket. You can see this is recessed under here as well, whereas this rides up on top. They're both great lights. They're both very powerful. I like that we're going towards something other than round. Very similar, but there are some differences. So it's not a good or bad. It's which do you like? This Olight comes in many colors. This Streamlight comes in 2 colors, black and what they call kind of a coyote tan or a beige. I imagine Streamlight is going to keep pushing this, maybe come out with a micro wedge would be probably a natural transition, something more in this form factor. And then, of course, they can hop up the lumens because you got so much battery if somebody wants that, and maybe have 3 clicks here. Anyway, with that, Doc out.